Wow, was episode 70 of Dragon Ball Super a treat for sports fans? And alrighty guys, it is Quad Man here to give you my episode 70 review and my episode 71 preview of Dragon Ball Super. And we have a lot to talk about today as I'm going to be giving you my review. And in addition to that, I'm going to be kind of giving you more of an in-depth breakdown for those of you who might not have understood baseball specifically. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. So, the episode starts off with Champa wanting to play baseball to cultivate the relationship between him and Beerus. Whis agrees to it. And originally, the whole reason why Champa even wanted to have a baseball game in the first place is because he wanted to go to Universe 7 for food. For those of you who remember, Champa has his own Earth now because, you remember, it was wished back with the Universe 6 tournament. So that was kind of interesting how he still wants to go to Universe 7's Earth for food. And the funny thing is that over the way to Universe 7, I'm just laughing thinking about this here. Vados and Champa are talking about playing sports, and Champa's saying how he doesn't really care. And the funny thing is that Vados kind of toys with him. She kind of makes Champa play sports by saying, oh, you really don't care, right? Well, it's true, if you exercise, then the food will taste even better, which will kind of obviously motivate Champa to obviously play, and it would make sense because Champa's obviously out of shape. So I thought that that was kind of like a cool little coyish way for Vados to motivate Champa into actually playing for his own team himself. And we get back to Earth and we see that Yamcha is the captain of the team. It makes sense because back in Dragon Ball Z, Yamcha played for the Titans. And if I remember correctly, Titans was spelled T-A-I-T-A-N-S. I always noticed that as a kid, how they spelled Titans weird. So, the weird thing about the team arrangement between Universe 6 and Universe 7 is that Vegeta and Goten are on Universe 6's team, whereas Goku and all the other guys are on Universe 7's team. And the weird thing is that Goten is playing with Vegeta and Trunks is playing with Goku. So it's like Goku and Vegeta are rivals and Goten and Trunks are rivals, but they're rivals on the opposite side because you would expect Goten to be on Goku's side and Trunks to be on Vegeta's side, like for father-son reasons. And, you know, obviously they did that to balance out all of the players, and Hit is mysteriously missing, guys. I am pretty sure we can take a guess why Hit is missing, you know, because we sure haven't had any indication of what possibly could have been the reason why Hit is not here right now. But as a result of all of this stuff, Hit's missing, and we see some side chatter later on saying that Bulma is talking about how Yamcha is actually good at baseball. That's one of the few things that he's good at. For those of you who follow this episode, you guys will know that this episode picked so much fun at Yamcha in so many ways. And other than obviously, Whis and Vados, who are, obviously aware of how baseball works, Gohan is literally like probably the only other character besides Yamcha who has like an idea of, how baseball works, because if you remember, he played baseball in high school. So, the game starts. Let's do a game-by-game breakdown. So, Goku throws a pitch. He powers up into a Super Saiyan Blue. He throws a pitch at Champa, and it literally nukes the area. He gets a penalty as a result of all of this stuff. And the funny thing about all of this is that he was then told to throw a much softer pitch. So what Goku does next is he throws another pitch, but this time he throws a pitch that's super weak, and Champa hits it. But here is where the episode is brilliant, guys. Champa hits the ball. Obviously, once you hit the ball, you can start running to the next base. But Trunks hits the moving ball with an energy blast to manipulate it in a way so that he can catch it. And the funny thing is Trunks catches this ball, and now Champa's out. The awesome thing about this, guys, for those of you who don't know, is that Vados was pretty much saying there's no rule against that because obviously the writers of baseball didn't expect people to know how to fly and shoot energy blasts. So, as a result of that, Champa's pissed off about everything. And now, after, Champa and all of that stuff happens later, Yamcha volunteers to Goku about how he should be pitching because Goku's doing a terrible job. So Yamcha's like, pretty much leave it to me. So Yamcha, using his skills of baseball, throws some pitches. He throws pitches to both Boltama and Kaba, and he pretty much like gets them out of the game. And the cool thing about it is that he literally manipulates the game by throwing a spirit ball. And what he does is he uses his ki to make the spirit ball fly past them, which literally is cheating if you think about it. And for those of you who might not know, in baseball you have something what's called the strike zone, which is pretty much the area that you have to throw the ball to make it fair for the hitter to hit. And what Yamcha was doing would probably be considered a ball if he played professional baseball, because that's not fair how he's making the ball impossible for his opponents to hit. So he strikes them out. And Bulma says that her opinion of Yamcha is changing, and as a result of this, Yamcha's giggling. And here's where we see some, mano-y-mano type stuff now, where Vegeta's pretty much like, oh yeah? Oh, you're impressing my wife, huh? Okay. So Vegeta takes it up for himself to be the pitcher. It's funny how now Vegeta's now going to pitch. He's the most aggressive pitcher I've ever seen. So he throws a pitch early that literally, hits Yamcha right in the rib. And the crazy thing about this is that all of this stuff pretty much gives Yamcha an ability to go to the next bat. For those of you who don't know, if you kind of violate the rules, the way that Vados did it is he violated the rules, so Yamcha pretty much got a free base. So Goku goes up to bat next. He powers up to a Super Saiyan Blue, and we see the rivalry between Goku and Vegeta all of it once again. And Vegeta throws a pitch to Goku, and I see the most awesome thing ever. I've never seen a Marlins game do something like this. I've never seen this in a baseball game. Rest in peace, Jose Fernandez. Goku hits the baseball, and Vegeta is shooting energy blast to make it virtually impossible for Goku to hold on, but somehow with all of the energy and Vegeta's powering up a final flash, Goku manages to hit the ball. Goten doesn't know how to catch, so the ball eventually gets all the way over to Kaba. Kaba throws that ball to Vegeta and right before Yamcha's about to get to the next base, and Vegeta elbows Yamcha away, literally knocking him out, which was crazy. So Yamcha's literally the butt of all jokes in this episode. And we see I'm just trying to think this here. So we also see that in this process of Yamcha trying to run to the next base, that Champa is trying to catch up to him to tag him out. And the funny thing is that Champa, can't catch up to Yamcha, which is weird because you would think a God of Destruction could catch Yamcha, but he clearly couldn't. And Vegeta elbows him. And next up, we see Gohan going up to bat. Obviously because of all of the the things we've seen thus far. So obviously the batting team switches up. Gohan now bats, and Piccolo tells him some inside information that Magetta can't fly, and Magetta was playing left field. I'll explain a little bit more about left field later on. So he's pretty much saying that Magetta can't fly, and that allows Gohan to hit it over in his direction to pretty much make it easier for him to get a ball hit. And once again, Yamcha has a chance to run, but this time, Champa and Botamo fly up in the air and throw the ball to tag Yamcha out, knocking him again, and Vados also says that's illegal. So Yamcha, 3 times now, has been completely brutalized by his opponents. He's been hit in the rib, Vegeta elbowed him, and now Champa's hitting him with the ball. And Beerus and Champa start arguing because pretty much both sides, are kind of playing aggressively. And a tornado occurs, they start fighting, there's some blood in all of this fight. And Goku's gonna teleport away, but Vados and, Whis obviously come to break it up. And all of that stuff is Goku's trying to teleport and everybody's tagging onto him. After everything clears, Yamcha's broken, beaten up body in the same position that it was during the Cybermen, fight against this, during the Saiyan arc, that actually helped him somehow blow him away to home run. And Yamcha scores a run as he hits home base. So that was crazy. It's incredible how all of that worked out. And this episode was great for sports fans. So let's talk about some action here. The only real action we saw was Beerus versus Champa, and we saw some aggressive baseball between Goku, Vegeta, and Yamcha. And I would say that although this wasn't really action-packed, it was cool to see some blood from both, Beerus, Champa, and Yamcha. It was more so of comical type of action, and I definitely loved the sequence where Vegeta was trying to, make Goku's hit on the baseball, move away with all of those energy blasts. And in terms of some interesting details, for those of you who don't know anything about baseball, I want to explain this for you and give you a game-by-game, play-by-play breakdown. what a left fielder pretty much does is he's the type of guy who sits around all the way in the outfield. He's usually a taller guy, which makes sense for Magetta to be the outfielder. And they usually catch those really long balls. So it was actually poor management to make Magetta an outfielder if you really think about it. Because you would think that Magetta would actually be very good being in the inner bases, because in doing so, he doesn't have to throw that far. And that was actually poor management on his part, for those of you who are more familiar with baseball. And I also wanted to talk about the rules of flight. Because people can fly, it pretty much makes it very hard for something to be a home run, because you could fly up into the air and catch a ball and, you know, get somebody out of the game. So I thought that that was kind of crazy how flying completely changes the rule of baseball. And the last thing I also wanted to say, for those of you who aren't baseball fans, is that in baseball, usually the pitcher is not a very skilled hitter. And in American baseball specifically, you have the National League and the American League. And pretty much the way it works over here is that in the American League, you have what's called a designated hitter. And what that pretty much means is that a team selects a guy who fills in to hit for the pitcher, because the pitcher is not very good at hitting. So Yamcha must be a pretty good baseball player if he's playing, you know, obviously being a batter and obviously pitching. And obviously in some baseball games, obviously the pitcher is forced to hit. But if he's good at both sides, that's actually kind of an anomaly. But would make sense because of Dragon Ball's reflexes and such. So for my memorable moments of this episode, guys, I would definitely have to say it would have to be how Yamcha scored that run by hitting, you know, the home plate. That's incredible. It was like a meme within itself, which is what made it awesome. And for my key discussion, guys, let's have a fun discussion here. Do you guys think the Z Fighters should be athletes? Because if you look at the type of explosive things they can do, you would think to yourself that they would be great at professional sports and they can make a lot of money for it. So overall, I thought it was a phenomenal episode. I liked it a lot more than 69. It had humor. It had some psychology, as we see, you know, the mano-a-mano conflict between Vegeta and Yamcha, the ex-boyfriend versus the new husband. And it also had sports, and which is why I loved it a lot. I watched, you know, Marlins games, and this was really fun for me to see, like a baseball adaptation of, you know, Dragon Ball. It was just incredible, and I loved it. It was an easy 5 stars, and this was one of the best episodes I've ever seen in Dragon Ball. Not just Dragon Ball Super, but in Dragon Ball in general. And the way that they just applied the rules by, you know, having the bottom of the innings and the top of the innings, they literally just took a complete baseball game and applied it to Dragon Ball. So this is more of a treat for sports fans. So overall, guys, I wanted to give you my preview analysis. As I've already said, how great this episode is. For episode 71, we see some interesting things here. So it seems like Goku's gonna die. We also see Hit, as it's looking like he's chasing against Goku. We also see blue people who are dressed in like suit-like clothes. So it's kind of like as if they're like the mafia that's like hiring Hit to pretty much take Goku out, which is kind of funny because Hit's in another universe. So I don't know how Goku's that relevant to their universe, unless they have their own reasons. And we also see Goku running around as if he's doing groceries, but somebody's chasing him. But the crazy thing about all of this, guys, is that we see Goten crying. And that to me says that I predict Goku's gonna die, because why else would Goten be crying, guys? Like, I don't see any other reason. So overall, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode review and predictions for episode 70 and episode 71 of Dragon Ball Super. Overall, I really loved this episode. And I really hope you guys liked, you know, my sports play-by-play breakdown, because, you know, this is my type of stuff. I really love sports, and I really hope you guys enjoyed my review. And if you don't understand baseball, I hope I made it a little bit easier for you guys. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.